Good evening, everybody. So nice to see all of you who are watching us on Facebook and who are joining us via Zoom. We are very excited to host today Parvina Rizoeva, and she will be talking about teaching cultural awareness. So welcome, Parvina, to English Without Borders. And let me briefly introduce our speaker to the audience. Parvina Rizoeva graduated from the Oriental Languages Department of Khujand State University, where her majors were Arabic and English languages. And since 2011, Parvina has been an English instructor at Khujand State University, the Oriental Languages Department. She teaches English, grammar, practice, English and American literature, English stylistics, and theory and practice of translation students. In 2017, Parvina participated in the English Teaching Mentor Program, and after that, she has successfully completed the following programs and courses from 2022. Massive open online courses, information and communication technology, ICT, teaching English to speakers of other languages, TESOL methodology, online professional English network, open on ICT into exploration of culture in the EFL setting. And she also completed virtual training on international conference proposal writing strategies sponsored by the US Embassy in Tajikistan, RELAW, and the US Department of State. And Parvina is an active member of English Without Borders, and she has been also English Without Borders Master Workshop finalist for winter 2022, and she delivered very interesting trainings in Khujand for English language teachers. And today she is ready to share her experience. And we welcome all our audience who are watching us and who has joined us via Facebook or Zoom. Please leave your questions to our speaker during the question and answer sessions. She will be answering to your questions. Thank you very much. And I'm giving the floor to Parvina. Over to you, Parvina. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that beautiful introduction. Thank you very much. I am very happy to be here. Hello, dear followers of English Without Borders, all my colleagues and friends and everybody who is watching us now. I would like to express deep gratitude to English Without Borders for this gracious invitation. And let me start my presentation as Mrs. Mirpochoeva has mentioned. Am I sharing my screen?
We don't see it yet, so
yeah, can you see my screen? Okay, nice.
Not so, yet. Yeah.
Yes, we will be talking about integrating cultural awareness and about its importance. So the first question is, the first objective of our webinar is the importance of integrating cultural awareness into the process of EFL teaching. The second point will be the problems faced
Parvina,
by
please.
teachers while approaching culture. And the
Parvina,
third,
Parvina, can you share your screen, please? We don't see it. Yeah.
okay, I
Yeah.
thought that I'm sharing it. So
No, we
let
don't
me
see it
see
yet. Yeah.
one
Please
more again.
try again. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Now here we go. Yeah, we can see you.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now, yes.
So, and yes, thank you. And I will introduce to you some instructional activities that can be adapted for your lessons and used fruitfully in them. So, why is it important to teach cultural awareness? In the 20th century, EFL lessons mostly concentrated on teaching grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation. And today, when we live in a global village, we understand the importance of communication, and traveling has become easier, and the means of communication, different kinds of gadgets were invented, and people can study sitting in their places on their comfortable sofas, and we want to teach our students to avoid different kinds of conflicts and to prevent some problems in their future careers and lives, because most of them want to travel abroad, want to study there, or do business at least. So you can see here that we are already implementing some of those strategies that we learned in the open program. Saying we, I mean the teachers of Oriental Languages Department of Khujand State University. Most of us participated in MOOCs on integrating critical thinking and exploration of culture. And here the students are discussing a text. We read it first and analyzed it. Of course, it was a text by Art Bookworld, Clean Up Your Room. So the students are comparing the culture of Tajikistan and the culture of the United States. Maybe we will go back to that slide or to its content later. So what are the problems while approaching culture? The first problem is that most people, they complain about insufficient time. We have 3 hours per week. For some subjects, there are more hours, but mostly we are lack of time, and this is the main problem. Here you can see also that the teachers of our chair, we try to implement those strategies and discuss them and try to experiment them among ourselves first. And another problem is that teachers are not aware of the target culture themselves, and we understand that we must resort to different kinds of resources, as far as most of us haven't been abroad, including me. So I resort to different kinds of books and movies. Sometimes, of course, we surf for information in internet. So this is the second problem. And the third problem is that there are so many aspects of culture that teachers become confused, and we don't know which of these aspects to teach to our students. And according to Tamerlan and Stemplesky, they were cited by Hussein Gumar Karam, and I cited most of those works in the end of my presentation. You can see and you can read these beautiful articles. So according to him, the goal of teaching cultural awareness first of all is to help students to understand that people they exhibit, they show, demonstrate different kind of behavior that is common in their culture. So let us look at the first picture. You can see that these Asian ladies and maybe a woman from European culture, they laugh differently. So what it is like well known that for Asian cultures, it is not very appropriate to show their feelings, especially in Japan, for example. They mostly try to control their emotions. But in American culture, for example, they like to show their beautiful teeth, and it is okay to laugh widely, opening your mouth. And of course, the trends are changing, but nevertheless, mostly the situation is like that. So the representative of the Eastern culture may think that the lady from European culture is not behaving very appropriately. And at the same time, the lady from European culture may think that these ladies are behaving affectedly. They are pretending to be very feminine. And so we have to explain that we must not be surprised, and we have to try to adapt to the culture where we live for that moment. And another pair of photos. In this photo, you can see that in this picture, which reflects obviously a European culture, the lady is wearing shoes inside the house. And for our culture, for Eastern culture and Central Asian, in many Central Asian countries, it is unacceptable. So if you have some guests from Europe or from the United States or from other high context culture, don't be shocked, and don't show that you are very surprised or believe that they are not being rude. It is just their culture. We have to explain it to our students. And another thing is the handshakes. They are different in different cultures. For example, I and my first year students at the Faculty of Oriental Languages, we have recently, it was, I think, 24th of November, celebrated the Day of Greetings. And then we explored that greetings are different in different countries. For example, in Maasai tribe, when they see each other, they jump. In Tibet, in order to greet you, the person may show his tongue even. And of course, in our culture, for Central Asian and mostly for Tajikistan, it's not okay to shake the hand of an unfamiliar woman, because it is not appropriate to our culture. And giving a hug also. I've searched the internet, and I found out that in European culture, in Italy, for example, in France, it's okay to give a hug to your friend's friend, even if you hadn't known him or her before. So in Tajik culture, it is like personal space. We do not hug if we don't know the person very well. Okay, and next aspect, next goal of teaching culture is to explain to our students that age, social position, and place of residence also influence the ways in which people behave. So unfortunately, I cannot see our chat, but I would be very grateful if someone from EWB team would read me the answers. What can you see in this picture, dear participants? What can you see in the first picture? Can you see it?
Dear audience, yes, you can unmute yourself and respond to the question of our speaker. Please don't be shy. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I think we can you can share your interpretations. Of course, it is not it won't be description completely. You may interpret what it might be, what might be reflected in this photo. So you can write in our chat. So yeah, I can continue myself because we are pressed for time. We can see several ladies, and what do you think? Where are they? What do you think, dear participants? Where are they? Can everybody see my screen? Because I can't see the chat. Okay. Shall I continue then? If there are no answers in our chat or in Facebook, maybe.
We have some responses in the chat box, like Munawar Zarifeshi is saying like friends are meeting and they are showing their happiness. Also, we have another response like people having fun, and also it's I mean Muradulayev, he's saying I bet it's a ladies' night, something like that. And
Yes.
Mohabati Tohir, she's saying people having fun, maybe in a party, and
Yeah,
there are
exactly.
some more ideas. There's
Yeah,
some
thank you.
celebration.
Yes, so we can see that the ladies celebrating something, and probably they're drinking some alcohol. Maybe it is a nightclub, and we have to explain to our students that it is okay for their culture, because when I and my students discussed those texts about differences in cultures, most of them criticized the American culture or European culture, saying that our ladies are more obedient. And I explained that just imagine that you were born in the United States or in Russia or in Europe, and everybody, all of your friends go to a party, and your parents allow you to go there, and your surroundings, people surrounding you will not blame you for that. It is okay to enjoy your time on Fridays, on Friday nights usually, to relax. But in our culture, if a young lady, if she goes to a nightclub, it means that she will ruin her reputation forever. And in the second picture, you can also see the difference in cultures, because the girl is showing from obviously southeastern culture showing filial piety to an elderly person. And usually in our culture, we do not speak back to elderly people. We do not how to say, express our opinion freely, because we do not want to harm in their feelings mostly. For European culture, they, in the third picture, you can see that they bring up independent people. They are for nurturing independence in their children, whereas in our culture it is better to bring up an obedient and not very independent person. So the third picture, recently I asked a question of my acquaintance if no how about her age, and she was very surprised. She explained to me that it is not okay to ask that questions from a European or from a representative of a Western culture, from a representative of a low context culture. And I just analyzed that question. We at schools, the first questions that we teach our children, it is, how old are you? Are you married or single? How many children do you have? How many brothers and sisters do you have? What does your mother do? What is your father? And we need to explain to our children, to our students, to our school students, that in order not to how to say, hoping that they will not be in such an embarrassing situation, we need to explain that it's okay to ask these questions if it is a very close acquaintance of yours. And in Tajikistan, it's okay. In most Eastern countries, in collectivist countries, it is okay to ask these kind of questions. And next picture, in this picture, you can see kind of dastarkhan, a table. And usually, I would like to cite Gerald Frank's article on raising cultural awareness of students. He says that we can use role playing with our students. We can ask them to imagine that they are representatives of a low context and high context cultures. So in Europe, in America, in some other cultures, if they say call on us someday, it doesn't mean that you have to that you must go to their place right away, because we need to explain that if it is not a formal invitation, if they don't tell you the day, the time, and the place, it is better to not to go. And in Tajikistan, for example, especially in rural areas, it's okay to call on your neighbor anytime you want, and mostly people even do not close their doors. So, and the third thing is to make our students aware of conventional behavior in common situations in the target culture. For example, Americans, they mostly, and Europeans, they prefer direct eye contact. It is like, it shows that you are frank with that person, that you are trying to be sincere. But in Tajikistan, direct eye contact, especially with elderly people, is not acceptable. We try to bow our heads and not to look at them straightforward. And the personal space, for example, before my participation in the open course, I hadn't known that it is better not to stand too close to the representative of the low context culture, like Americans, Europeans, and other Western cultures, because you need to stand like 60 centimeters, even the numbers are given farther from that person. Okay, not cursing and avoiding discriminatory commands. Of course, they refer to any culture. And another thing, for example, being late or not showing up in the lessons. When we go to we attend one of our Fulbright specialists who is working now in Khujand in American space, Mrs. Elliott. Our best regards to her. Some students come late, and then explain them that it is not good, that they must tell her Mrs. Elliott beforehand, because in our culture it's okay when students don't come to the lessons. We are not very frustrated, but I understand that in European culture it shows that you don't respect other people's time, that you think that your time is more precious than theirs. So next thing is, I think it is very important. Of course, we teach our students different kinds of idioms and words that bear cultural connotation, but I think it's still not enough, and we need to maybe make some kinds of exercises ourselves. For example, we need to look for information, look up for information in internet or other resources. Maybe there are some articles. I cited one in my presentation. So let us try to see that different words have different connotations in different cultures. For example, please write in our chat. I hope, because I can't see the chat here, I hope that EWB team will tell me your answers. So the word daffodil in English culture is a symbol of which answer will you choose, please? A, B, or C?
Yes, dear audience, please use the chat box to write your responses. We have some responses from our viewers. A.
Yes, thank you.
A. Yeah,
Mostly,
several
yes.
people responded A.
I think everybody learned by heart that poem about daffodil. And what about the second one? Chinese people are quite emotionally attached to which one? A, B, or C?
Let's wait. People are responding.
Yes, yes.
Okay, we have several responses here. Some people think it's A, some think it's C, but
Yes.
majority choose A.
Yes, right. The majority, I hope that, unfortunately, I cannot see you, but those who chose A are correct. Thank you for your responses. And next one, in some parts of China, which number is regarded as inauspicious number, a negative number? What do you think? Those who learn Chinese language, they definitely know this number, but it is
Yeah, we
new.
have several responses. They are selecting again A.
Yes, I'm really surprised because I didn't know it myself. I just wanted to show that in our faculty, there are several majors. Mostly English is our second major, and our students study and learn Chinese language, French language, and Arabic. And it is very important to know that in Chinese culture, number 4 is considered to be inauspicious. It is connected with death, and even there are some elevators that do not have number 8. Okay, and the phrase "in the red" means, what do you think? It is in English, of course. Which of these answers will you choose, dear participants?
Okay. So we have people that share. Some of them accept like C, some of them A. So
Isn't
somebody
there answer B?
selected B. B.
Yes,
Somebody, Matluba, she selected B.
yes. So yeah, B is correct here, and I wanted to explain that in Chinese culture, in Tajik culture, red color is connected with holidays, with celebrations. It is the same in American culture too, but at the same time, it is used in some negative connotations. So, what do you think, dear participants? What kind of item of clothing do the Chinese have to wear if uh, for funerals, if they have mourning? Which answer will you choose?
Yeah, so let's wait. People are responding.
For funerals, yes. Which
Hmm.
color do?
Okay, we have as an option from some of them. Okay, yeah. So somebody is saying that not all the options are shown on the screen, but majority choose A.
Okay, unfortunately, yes. I thought that it is only with my screen. So in China, wearing white clothes is common for funerals. It is accepted for funerals. Like in Tajikistan, we know that we have to wear dark colors like green or black or blue, dark blue. In European culture, black clothes for funerals are common. And another thing is to teach our students to avoid, another goal is to avoid different kinds of biases and prejudices. So, and Gerald Frank in his article says that if you want to teach a culture, you need to begin with your own culture. So what do you think, dear participants? What kind of prejudices are there about Tajikistan, among others? If we have any uh, foreigners who are in our chat, you can also answer frankly, because we would like to know, what do you think about us? Prejudices and biases, I hope everybody knows. There are things that we interpret about others without knowing correct facts. Our suppositions, mostly negative suppositions about cultures. Do we have any answers?
Okay. So let me see. Um, So most marriages in Tajikistan are arranged marriages. One
Excuse
of
me,
the
can you?
most marriages in Tajikistan are arranged.
Yes, thank you for that answer. Yes, I've heard that some foreigners think that in our country, people like wild and savage and are rude and are not civilized, and women usually stay at home, they run the house and don't work. So different kinds of prejudices there are about our culture, and different prejudices um, uh, they exist about every culture. So we need to teach our students that they must not be judgmental, must rely on facts and look for facts while judging a person, and not to think that he will behave or she will behave according to like the prejudices that you held usually. So
Yeah. Uh, Thank you. We have another response from Halima Muiba. She's saying Tajiks and Afghans are the same nationality.
yes. Okay, yeah, we have the same roots, the same culture, the same religion, so we can say that we are the same people. Thank you for your answers. And we need to help our students to locate information, to find information about other cultures. And we need to stimulate their natural curiosity. I remember once I asked my students to tell about some cultural bumps that occurred in their life. Especially, it was interesting for me about the students who traveled to China. And I remember that one of them told about the situation when he was invited to some place. His friend invited him, had been inviting him for many times. So he went there, and he, following our traditions, he bought some fruit and some bread and pastry and different kinds of candies. And among his fruit, there were pears. And he said that after those incident when he went to his friend's place, that friend didn't call him and didn't invite him and didn't want to make any kind of relations, friendly relations. So he was very surprised, and he then understood. One of his teachers in China explained that pears, they have some connection and sound like separation. So when you take pears to a Chinese family, it means that you do not want to continue your acquaintance and you want to break your relations. That's why we need to teach our students to locate for information and to use it properly. So Anna Cristana Salana Campos, she suggests us to use several sites like Exchange and tolerance.org. I can American English state.gov, where you can download a lot of materials, a lot of handouts for your lessons. And besides, there are some also another websites, and you can also participate in seminars there. That's why yeah, I also advise you to use these sites. You can take photos, or you can later find them in our in EWB's platform. So Brooks cites 62 topics that can be taught during our lessons. So I suggest you using one of them for each of your lessons. There are different kinds of topics like patterns of politeness, verbal taboos, festivals, music, and others. And you can of course, you have to take into consideration your audiences, your students' age and their needs, their interests. The first strategy that I would like to tell you about is cultural iceberg. It was borrowed from Gerald Frank's article. So the teacher has to draw this kind of pyramid on the blackboard. It must be big enough, because in each space of this pyramid you will write different words. It must be like very big, and you will have to explain to your students that the part of the pyramid, its tip, denotes the surface culture. It includes the products that we see in each culture, like food, clothes, music, dances, books, etc. The second space is about practices, the things we do, like we have just mentioned personal space, eye contact, different kinds of gestures. So they are included in the second space. And the third space includes different kinds of perspectives. Perspectives are ingrained in us, they are embedded in us, they are our opinion, what we think is right and what we think wrong. Everything is connected with our perspectives. And another thing that we have to mention is that people usually see only the first space, the tip of the iceberg, and these two parts are submerged in the water. So let us have a look. So I mentioned what the products are, and it is everybody knows that our national food is plov, yes. In Saudi Arabia, of course, in different parts of Arabic countries and different parts of Saudi Arabia, there are different national meals, but mostly it is al-kabsa. It is very similar to our osh. It is also prepared with rice and meat and other things. And the next one is the national meal of the United States. Everybody, I know all of us know hamburgers and turkey, but occurred to me that apple pie in the United States is very tasty, and its taste is unforgettable. So I hope that all of us someday will try American apple pie. And next one is China. In China, of course, in different parts, there are also different meals like dumplings and noodles, but mostly people know Peking duck. So they are easily discernible, they're easily observable. And about national clothes, we can say the same. In Tajikistan, they wear chakan, and for American culture, it is Stetson and clothes that cowboys wear. And yes, obviously, this is for Arabic culture, national clothes of Arabs, and that one is for Chinese culture. I don't know if it is called kimono or what. It is really beautiful. You can see that we organize different kinds of events where we introduce these aspects of culture to our students. They celebrate different kinds of holidays, but unfortunately, it is not enough. We need to teach them more. We need to teach them, to introduce to them like subsurface culture. Let us practice some of these aspects. It is the title, the name of this instructional activity is sharing gestures. So I will show you some pictures like that, and you will tell me the meanings. So in the United States, when somebody shows you this gesture, it means that you are a loser. But in China, my students even told me that you need to like put it somewhere near your head, and it means aid. And 8 has very positive connotation in positive meaning in Chinese culture. So you can see that the same gestures have different meanings in different cultures. And please, what do you think? What does this gesture mean when you show your index finger and your pinky? It is used in our culture too. So what does it mean? I think if you use this game, you will have a lot of fun with your students because I've tried it, I promise. Mm,
Yeah, so let's wait because some of the participants are responding to that.
yeah.
And yeah, using this moment, I also want to pay your attention, dear audience, to the chat box because so many of our followers, they are also participating in this webinar and also sharing additional resources for teaching cultural awareness and additional movies that will help you better understand and better deliver the topic of cultural teaching cultural awareness to your students. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fernanda Quiz, for sharing your opinion and resources. Yeah, so we have a number of responses here. So it means victory, it means cool, it means cool.
Great.
Everything
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I also use it in some pictures like my children do. So it means, yes, victory, success, approval, but unfortunately in some cultures in Brazil and in Italy and some North American cultures, it is a very negative gesture. It means that your spouse, either wife or your husband, is cheating on you. So be very cautious while using this gesture, dear participants. And this one, what do you think? When do we use this gesture? Can you see me? I hope that, yeah, you can see me because I can't see my face. Yes, let us wait for your answers.
Okay, come here. Somebody is writing, come here.
Yes,
so,
thank you. Yes, in many countries, it is come here, it is like seducing somebody. But in Philippines, if you show this gesture, you may be arrested because it's considered to be very derogatory. And yes, it is very dangerous to use this gesture. Be very careful, dear participants. And what about this one? Yeah, what does it mean? Do we have any answers for crossing fingers when we cross our fingers?
Yeah, we have some responses like keep fingers crossed for good luck, good luck.
Thank you. Yes, in most cultures, in Russian culture, in American culture, European culture, it is when somebody wishes good luck, but in some cultures it is very offensive gesture, so don't use it everywhere, especially in South American cultures. And this one, fingers all together, so you can even read that in Italy it means how much. In Congo, it means small amount of something. In Turkey, beautiful. In Egypt, it means wait a minute. You want to tell somebody to wait a minute. In Tajikistan, it is close to that meaning. And this one, yes, you can read that it is okay in the United States, but in Belgium it is zero. In Japan it means money. So you can show your students millions of other gestures. I just chose several of them because I realized that we are short of time. So perspectives. For perspectives, you need to discuss unconscious values that exist in different cultures, like nature of wedlock. I understand that you need to search in internet, you need to like type like wedding in Japan, like marriage in Tajikistan, and you will get so many answers. And each of these topics can be discussed for more than several hours, and they can be discussed for your in your discussion clubs too. But mostly we need to, how to say, um, um, to rely on the information of that text that we are using, and to see if there are any perspectives in the text. So thank you. And another activity, let us try this one. It is also very interesting, because in different cultures we use different kinds of exclamations to show our feelings, and they're very common. Like the first is done for you. It's absolutely delicious. Uh, I would like to mention that it is uh, borrowed from Headway of Lees and Jones source, upper intermediate level. And I can say that it is one of those books that focuses on teaching culture. And I like this side of it very much, because it seems very funny for our students. So I will ask you to uh, find which of these sentences corresponds with the word yuk, with the exclamation, I'm sorry, exclamation yuk. Please, I will wait for your answers for several seconds. What do you think? Which of the sentences goes with yuk?
We have some responses. That is disgusting. Several
Yes,
people have selected that.
that's beautiful. Thank you for your active participation. And what about food? What about food, dear participants? Do you know what does it denote in English culture, in British culture? I think in American also. Yes, food.
Yeah, so we have several responses. Some people think it's shame. Some people are saying it's disgusting.
Thank you. So I think this part, let me see. Yes. Fu, I'm sorry for not like concealing, hiding those writing. So it goes with water relief. Thank goodness for that. Though at the same time, it is can be used for, that's disgusting when you like in Russian culture, in Tajik culture, when something smells bad, so you can use the word fu. And what about um, like let us say ouch, ouch. I think due to American movies, most people are acquainted with this exclamation.
Okay, we have some responses. Sorry when it hurts. That really hurts. We usually say
Yes.
this word.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. But yes, of course, your answers are brilliant. Thank you very much. But we know that in Tajikistan, when you feel pity, here, what a shame is used for what a pity. It goes with what a shame goes with what a shame, and which sound is used in Khujand for what a pity? Which sound do we use in Khujand or in Dushanbe? Because in different parts of Tajikistan we use different sounds.
Somebody has written I.
Maybe yes. I think like in Khujand we use e instead of r. Okay. So Thank you. Next activity, who am I? You can ask your students to write 10 words about themselves that describe, reflect their character, tell about them, different words, and then ask your students to work in pairs, to change their sheets of paper and to write a paragraph about their friends. It is also a very useful activity. I wanted to ask you to write several words. Let us say 3 words about your personality, but I think we are very short of time. That's why we may delay it. You can easily use it with your friends, and the last strategies also are about spotting the difference. You can show different pictures and ask your students to compare them in American culture. For example, I chose some pictures because they were like very beautiful about American culture and about Tajik culture. What will happen if you go to the United States and you are asked to do it? For example, in our culture, we know that we don't pay tips because they're included in our bill, and students or people may be embarrassed if they don't know these rules in these like customs. And the last one is from Melissa Mendelssohn's presentation. You can use it with your students. They will complete, they will answer to these questions. They will rank these answers, their answers, and then they will get the whole picture of themselves. And it is very interesting, especially to show that every individual has his own traits and features of character. So here are the articles or books that I used, and I would like to mention one more again, the importance of using American English State Gov. Thank you very much for your attention. Yes, I think I can stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Parvina, for such
Thank you.
informative presentation. And now let's move to the question and answer session. We have a number of questions waiting for you. Okay. So, okay, we have a question from Mr. Kunanda Quiz. He's asking, how do you deal with taboo subjects, which can cause some cultural unease?
With what kind of subjects, excuse me?
Taboo subjects.
Yes. I think taboos must also be explained to our students. And I think in order to avoid some embarrassing situations, we need to use some euphemisms in order to, how to say, make them not so rude. Yes, I remember we in our lessons of theory of translation, we just translated several idiomatic expressions like peeping Tom, and when discovering its etymology, we understood that the topic wasn't very appropriate in our culture. But I told that it's okay because we must how to say, like we must show that we are grown-ups, and these situations happen. I advise you to read the story of Peeping Tom, how this expression, how did it appear. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thank you. So it means, like, being very, very attentive while using. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's
okay. Yeah. So, like, while teaching cultural awareness, so and to cover all the aspects of language teaching and culture teaching, so taboo should also be given focus to avoid, like, some kind of misconceptions and misunderstandings.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. We have next question. While teaching grammar or English practice, there are so few materials introducing Tajik culture. Why is it difficult to find the textbook resources which express our culture?
Yes, frankly speaking, I also was very embarrassed and frustrated to know that there aren't many books, even in English textbooks. Not all of them include some topics about American culture, English culture. It is very difficult to find them. So I will try to look for them in internet. But I can advise not for Tajik culture, unfortunately. For Tajik culture, we may just use some like narrative stories, like short stories, like excerpts from our writers' books. Our national Tajik writers' books, and to discuss it with our students, it is also possible. I know that some books of Sadruddin Aini were translated into English and into Russian, and Fazluddin Muhammadi. I advise you to discuss it with your students. And as for American culture, I really advise to use Nancy Eccles's. I know that it has been discussed in English Without Borders recently. So I advise you to use it with your students, because my students adore it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We have one more question. So if you cannot find reasons, yeah, for some words, how would you explain it to your students, or you would rather avoid using such kind of words?
Excuse me, what kind of words, Miss?
Euphemism words.
Euphemistics. Okay. Yeah, I try usually to explain it somehow. It happens with me a lot, because I teach American literature, English literature, and you know that they touch upon different kinds of tricky topics. Like when we discuss different sayings, for example, in our lessons of stylistics, we cannot avoid discussing it. I understand that some of my students may not approve of that, may not like it. For example, I cannot say it here, but I usually explain that it is the culture of another country and we must respect it. Yes, and I tell, usually I discuss it.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Parvina. So, and we have very active participants that they are sharing different resources that teachers can use to teach cultural awareness to students. Thank you very much. Yeah, some of them they are citing that some information about Tajik culture can be found in Abdullayeva's books on English. Yeah, thank you very much. Let me remind our audience that today we had a webinar on teaching cultural awareness with our wonderful speaker, Parvina Rizoeva. Thank you so much, Parvina, for such informative and very engaging webinar. I hope that everybody who joined the webinar enjoyed it so much. And please, we express our huge gratitude for everybody who are with us every Thursday and watching and participating the English Without Borders webinars. So yeah, our respect to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank
and using
you.
this
I'm
moment,
very
yeah, using this moment, once again, Parvina, thank you so much. And we hope for more collaborations with you,
yes.
dear audience, dear followers, and dear participants of English Without Borders activities. Please stay tuned on us and actively engage in our activities. So we will be having our regular Tuesday webinars, please join them, and please also make your contribution by sharing your own experience with other teachers who are attending our webinars. Thank you very much.
I'm really grateful.
Yeah, have a great evening, everybody. Stay tuned on us, and yeah, welcome to English Without Borders.
See you.
See you. Bye-bye.